New Zealand may be a small country, but in the wider world what we do, use and consume affects lives everywhere. So I'm on a mission to see how we're treating our backyards both here and further afield. What are we doing to be cleaner and greener? What do we need to change? And what does the future hold? So join me to Radar as I go global. Don't worry, I'll plant plenty of trees to offset the travel. Now, where's my passport? Used to all be so easy. You'd go to the supermarket and you'd choose your products based upon price or personal taste. Now, there's so much more to consider. There's things like fair trade and ethically sourced goods. There's organically grown, sustainably harvested. How do we make our decisions? I mean, look at this, people say palm oil is bad, but here's some chocolate that's got organic palm oil. What does that mean? There's layer upon layer of complication. So how does an ordinary person go to the supermarket and make decisions? Enough to drive me to coffee, just so I can stay awake longer to eat the chocolate that I'm trying to have some kind of ethical thought about. What does it all mean? I'm going to go and find out. Hopefully it'll make things easier. If it's so difficult to manufacture anything in New Zealand competitively full stop, how then can we do it in an environmentally friendly way? Folk in Wellington certainly have a few ideas. Green cabs started here using only eco-friendly vehicles. But today, my focus is chocolate. Hi Megan.
Hello Radar, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, just in time for breakfast,
am
I?
Come up.
Excellent. Yeah. These are pretty good rice bubbles, eh, Luke? Do it, time to go to work. What's Mum going to do when she goes to work? Is she going to invent chocolate? Are you her little Oompa Loompa? How awesome is it to have a mum who makes chocolate? Megan's a chocolatier for Whitakers and Porirua. While they've made chocolate for decades, they recently made headlines for saying no to palm oil.
So this is the cocoa bean with the shell still on it, and under here is what we call cocoa nib.
It's chocolatey. I could just eat those. All that rest of that millions of dollars worth of machinery and science, just package those. Palm oil. I mean, you don't use palm oil.
We want to make world-class chocolate here in Porirua, and to do that we don't feel we can achieve that with anything else but cocoa butter.
Cocoa butter is the go. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? World-class chocolate made right here in Porirua.
I know.
Look at that one goes right there. Whitakers also make bars with fair trade cocoa beans. Good for them. I've always wanted to see fair trade in action, and as nothing goes better with chocolate than coffee, I'm off to a fair trade coffee plantation in Rwanda. Welcome to Kigali, the capital. It's a different Rwanda to the one most people think of. Their troubles are in the past, unlike mine.
So we stopped here for a couple of minutes and then my Land Rover backed into quite a big hole. The combined strength of all of these people was not enough to lift it out, but fortunately, there's a service vehicle.
I think we live in a world where too many people ignore where it is that their products actually come from. With the rise of these sort of mega corporations that make these enormous profits, well, those profits, they're generally not filtered back down to the people who actually provide the product. Farmers from the Maraba Collective used to sell their untreated coffee to middlemen. Now they pool their knowledge and skills to harvest and process their own beans. This not only improves their quality, but also their profits. Yeah, it's quite a lot of hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, very hard work.
Do you think that she might let me have a go with her hoe? Yeah.
You can try. It is obligatory.
Right. How am I doing?
Yeah.
Do you think I'd be a good farmer?
Yeah, they're happy with you because
they're happy with
you
me.
are strong enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way that you hold the hoe.
Oh, good, so I hold it right and very strong.
Yeah.
Do you know, they are the first women who have ever said that I look strong. You can tell them. Murakosi. Not dissimilar to the Jack and the Beanstalk story, magically they have taken their beans and it has produced a cow. Obviously it's not magic, it's simple economics. But nonetheless the economics say if you grow enough beans you can buy a cow, and they have bought themselves a very fine cow indeed. All paid for with coffee beans. Hello cow. Oh, you don't like that. Understandable. What I found oddly surprising was the fact that it's not generally a traditional drink. They don't drink it.
This is so much effort that I can understand why they are a country that exports coffee for other people to drink, because that is a lot of hard work.
Much easier to make tea.
I've got wrist cramp. My hand was getting so weak I couldn't grasp my pounder. Hello. If you could tell them that in New Zealand, it's tradition at the end of a hard day's work that everyone has a beer, and that we would like to offer them some money, so that, but for beer, but just for the ladies. Yeah.
And so next time you're choosing something, if you were a coffee grower working all day on a hillside with a hoe, wouldn't you want to get a fair price? I would. You know, you have the power to make a difference in the way you spend your money.
In New Zealand, women only sing after beer.
It sounds a little bit preachy, doesn't it? I'm not trying to tell you what to do. And if you can help some community somewhere get a fair price for all the hours of effort they put in, isn't that worth it? A few cents over there, you know, it all adds up. It was, without a doubt, one of the best cups of coffee I think I've ever had. Tell you what, zingy, food miles, again, we were down to a matter of literally metres.
The coffee I've just seen growing eventually ends up here, in London, at the roasters and grinders of the Union Coffee Company. Jeremy, who set up the trading system with Maribor, also sells their beans to Meantime Brewing, who use them to produce an award-winning fair trade coffee beer. Bravo! Jeremy is nothing if not passionate about such things.
The name Union is really all about relationships. I don't want to be the guy that just turns up in the village and say, hey, do this differently or do that. So it's much more about having a conversation with growers.
And a very much a direct relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around the kitchen table with these families and I've literally sat in their homes. It should be something that we both take an investment in together. I've been going there on average 2 or 3 times a year for the best part of 10 years now, just to work with this community. Because we've got that long relationship with them, they know we're not going to disappear. They're starting small businesses in that community, so that money is turning over and creating new opportunity. Any right-thinking person wants growers of coffee to benefit from what they're doing. I'm quite happy to pay them top dollar for that better quality. But we also insist that that coffee is grown sustainably.
Or I guess a lot of the bigger companies are coming in and they want, as you say, more for less.
Absolutely. We believe that a direct trade model works. It's about growing better, not growing more. Grow better value, so you earn more out of that same amount that you grow. That produces a more economically active community and produces better quality coffee.
And I guess it means that you can sleep easy at night.
If you can get over the caffeine, yes. It's not about going out to some country and saying, we want this, put it on a ship and send it to us.
Because if it wasn't for them doing what they do, we wouldn't have this.
Absolutely. I live for those moments every year, to taste a new coffee, to have something that just comes at you, wow, with personality and character. Fabulous. If I thought we were doing the same thing as the big multinationals, I'd close us down tomorrow.
Sustainable production is what the planet needs. As a dairying nation, we need to farm, but the future is about finding cleaner, greener ways to do it. In Waitakaruru, there's a farmer who thinks his soil is more important than his cows.
Hey, Max.
G'day, Ray.
I'm going to have a bit of a chat to you, but in the meantime, I suppose you're going to probably set me off on all kinds of chores and ordeals.
Do you mind? It's a bit hard on this thing.
You've hurt your leg. It's the least I can do. I need
Thank
the
you.
exercise.
Thank you.
What's different about this than, say, most of the other farms around here?
We aim at the soils first and then make the cows and the people come behind that.
How did this all come about?
Probably because I was lucky enough to have been farming overseas and seeing I was in places where land had been completely destroyed. I'm kind of into the idea that the thing lasts. I'd like my grandchildren's children to be standing here talking to some other fella.
Clover up around their ears. Clover? You're growing clover?
Yeah, it's a bit this. I think if you look around, you'll find plenty of clover, depending on which paddock, what we've targeted, you know.
Suppose you want me to go and put up a fence now?
Please, that'd be good. All this talking, not enough work. I haven't put any soluble fertiliser, any of the real acidulating stuff for years now. I decided that the soluble fertilisers weren't right. I think the science is showing that now. We can only describe 10% of the life that's in soil today, anywhere. And when you figure that 1 teaspoon of soil, there's more living things in it than there is people on the planet.
Come on, come on, come on.
Look at their unbridled delight, prancing their way into this field of sustainable grass. If you were in control, what would you change?
Oh, it'd be a simple change for me. I'd go back to the way it was, where we had the practitioner and the scientist working together, you know, in cooperation, measure what's happening and measure the outputs. But we're not doing that. We've sort of kind of got the idea that the standard model's the right one. To be able to make a basic assessment as to the value of the soils is the first step. There's certainly a need to get back to basics.
On Taranaki pasture, the long-term effects of superphosphate top dressing are being studied for investigation of changes in the soil.
There's a skin over this globe that we protect at our peril. You know, there's lots of good books written about how civilisations just tipped over when they stopped looking at their soils. And if you have a smell, you can smell that really sweet smell. That's what I like to see, is that it all falls apart and that it's in there is just a teeming mass of microbiology if we've got it right.
Right.
You know, that little worm there, he's just coming away. Sorry, mate, I mean to muck you up.
Down in there.
The next generation of farm owners is likely to be international corporate. Look, if I was to decide, right, let's have a good time, I'd mineralise the hell out of the soils, I'd pile on the stock, I'd put maize in it all up and down the place, I'd sell it off and I'd get a nice boat and I'd go toodly-too, you know. But if I decide that I want to leave something for my grandchildren's children, that's a longer term of investment. Sustainability actually gives you a better lifestyle and profit down the other end. It depends on how you do your numbers.
I'm about to pack my pack and head off to Borneo. What do you think I'm going to find over there?
Prepared to be a bit dispirited about humanity. We're going to see large tracts of jungle being bowled to put in the monoculture of palm kernel. There's a lot of that palm kernels going into farming operations that have just pushed the limit too hard. I didn't like it. Cows aren't designed to eat palm kernel, or grains for that matter, a little bit of seed head, etc. They're bovine, they're designed to eat herbage.
Yeah.
And so the introduction of anything comes with risks that I think that as a nation we should be very, very cautious about.
I'm a huge fan of the orangutan. I think probably because it's a ginger. Of all of the primates, it's always been my favourite. And all of my life, I thought I would really love to get as close as possible to an orangutan. Life's not easy for an orangutan. You know, you may be the old grandfather of jungle with very long arms and the ability to climb trees with consummate ease, but it's not so good if those trees are being chopped down. I've been absolutely flabbergasted today to drive through the palm oil plantations, just mile upon mile upon mile of nothing but palm oil trees, and it was quite astounding to be confronted by the sheer scale of the palm oil monoculture. And the big problem, of course, is the habitat destruction. The palm oil's encroaching upon the jungle, and it's sort of, a lot of jungle is being destroyed in order to have more palm oil. And you think, oh, well, maybe we could substitute it for another oil, but it's sort of just so productive. Canola oil or soybean oil, I think it's 3 times the amount of land is needed to produce the same amount of oil. So what do we do then? Where's that going to grow?
Palm plantations have damaged the habitats of Borneo's orangutan and pygmy elephants. Now it's threatening another species. Palm oil is lucrative, and the people on tribal land are struggling to assert their rights against the might of big corporations.
Welcome to Kampung Sukau.
Thank you. And so the company wants you to move away?
Yes.
Yes. But this is your land?
Yes, this is our land, and we fight for this land.
Yes.
For our next generation.
Yes.
Because we born here and we dead here.
Yes.
Yes.
And then a company comes in and says...
And the company come, then they said, we want to take this land,
Yeah.
you move.
Right.
To other, no place to move.
No, nowhere to go.
No place.
No.
So
And this is what they harvest?
yes, yes.
Yes, from the oil palm.
Yes, yes.
And they get squashed. Oh, look at that, there's quite a lot of oil in there, isn't
Yes,
there?
yes.
And then inside there's like a nut as well. And then some of it can be fed to animals.
This one, outside.
Oh, the outside.
seed, yes.
That sort of that whole, that bit
Yeah,
there.
outside, yes.
Because I think we feed a lot of that to cows in New Zealand. I'm camped virtually in the middle of a palm oil plantation. It's, well, there's hundreds of them all around me. And when you think, well, do I really use anything with palm oil in it? Well, the chances are you probably do. It's in soap and laundry powder. Here it is in some chocolate. It's definitely in there. It's in everything from biscuits to instant noodles. And the thing is, when you look at it, you think, oh, well, isn't it terrible? And all of that sort of habitat is being destroyed. Well, at the same time, it employs quite a lot of people, virtually everybody. It's a confusing and perplexing and very problematic issue.
It seems that the palm plantations in Borneo are here to stay. So, groups like the Kinabatangan Orangutan Conservation Project are all the more important. I'm on a fast boat to Orangutan Central.
I've purchased a pair of leech socks because apparently the jungle contains leeches and I'm not a big fan of them. It's a pillowcase with a toe. And whereas a snake, that'll move away from you, leeches, they move towards you. So this is going to protect me. There we go, I feel so much safer. And when I'm done with these, I can use them as Christmas stockings. That was Minchu's idea. He's an ideas guy.
Minchu is also my jungle guide, which is good because he appears a lot more comfortable in the jungle than I am.
This is the first time I've ever really been in an actual jungle. It's unfamiliar. I've been leeched. A little bit of blood on there, which is indicative of the fact that somehow or other what I should have been wearing was like leech gauntlets rather than just leech socks.
This is called tiger leech.
Tiger leech?
Yes, this is one of the nightmares for overseas people to Borneo. We have some journalists before. He called me, hey, Mitch, I don't hear anything. And my left side ear. And I have a look at torch.
A leech in his ear?
Man, it's leech in his ear.
Uh-oh.
Yes?
Bad.
Ankle, man, ankle. You okay?
Yes.
No sexual harassment? Just grab this thing?
Yeah. No sexual harassment?
No sexual harassment because you like on armpit, for women like around the middle of the breast.
Right.
And men and women, that place. You can get leeches there. Yeah, so many times I encounter, take it off, like that.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
The branch moved. The jungle freaks me out. Onwards. Oh, this way. I've seen too many bad movies.
And if you think the jungle is terrifying, you should see how we used to treat its inhabitants.
In one respect, Wellington has now caught up to London. It has a daily chimpanzees tea party.
Orangutans, thankfully now all non-smokers, are still held in zoos around the world, but in the wild their numbers are on the decline. The research unit Minchu is taking me to see records the movements of a mother and daughter orangutan every 3 minutes to learn more about their daily needs.
Where's the orangutan? Up there. Yeah, it's the movement.
It's a bit of movement, isn't there?
You smell that?
Yeah.
That's orangutan feces.
Orangutan feces?
Yeah, it's always like a sign for them. If they want to move, they can poo and pee.
Right.
Yeah, so any moment now.
You wouldn't want any of that orangutan poo to fall on your head?
No, not recommended.
Be quite a wallop in the old face if some of that. Squawk.
Yeah.
So, there it is there, a bit of orangutan poo.
Yeah.
Well, that's important stuff.
That's very important stuff, yes. Around 2.5 hours, it will be gone, cleaned by the dung beetle. You're lucky to see this shit before it's gone. Not every time people can see this one. Yeah. Right now, the one that's playing around, her name is Felicity. She's around 4 years old. And the mom, more to the left side there, her name is Julina. Look at how she plays around. She doesn't care with us.
Yeah. How many of them are there?
Well, in the wild, in Kinabatangan floodplain, it's around 1,000 individuals, but it's getting decreased because from last year's studies, we find out there are around 700.
Yeah. So 300 have disappeared.
kind of, but it's not because of bushmeat, not pet trading, it's more like habitat loss. And so now what you experience, you're considered lucky. To see them in the wild, not easy.
Little Felicity loves showing off for the camera. That is great fun. Wish I could do that. This looks like we're on some kind of a trail.
Yes, well, actually made by this Asian pygmy elephant.
Asian pygmy elephant.
Asian pygmy elephant.
What's our chance of seeing one of those on the trail?
We're gonna try.
Pygmy elephant.
Dad, you need help, man?
Yes, I do.
So, no sexual harassment?
No sexual harassment.
Oh my God.
Take it off. Here we go. Not being harassed.
So it's not fun job.
No, not fun. Especially if you're flicking.
Yeah, if you're wrong flick, oh
wrong
man.
Flick. Wrong leech.
No more flick.
For animals, there's little to eat in the palm plantations. When really hungry, the pygmy elephants will often push over the full-sized palms, which makes them rather unpopular. Fortunately, there's an elephant unit that helps shoo them back to what's left of the jungle.
If you visit to Kinabataan, it's perfect. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wild orangutans only move from tree to tree, never along the ground. So it's vitally important that the unit can buy back land to replant.
Tree goes in.
They're joining up fragments of forest to maximise the remaining habitat.
There we go. All planted. And in the future, maybe an orangutan will climb that tree, maybe eat some of it, and quite possibly think of me. Although that is very unlikely. It's absolutely staggering to consider how many products contain palm oil, especially when you think about the fact that there are alternatives for most of them. Aren't we prepared to pay a little extra for that alternative? If we do use it, we can make sure that it's sourced from companies that aren't draining swamps and burning forests and displacing locals, and companies that make sure there's little enclaves and areas of jungle set aside for the wildlife. And just because it's not our backyard doesn't mean it's not our problem, because it's everybody's world, even the orangutans and the leeches. It's their world too. We can do something about it by choosing wisely. Because the leeches and the orangutans, they can't say no. We have to look out for them. They can probably eat noodles in a far more delicate and sophisticated manner than I could. Beautiful orangutans.
So hopefully that makes things a little clearer. It's probably about time for a fair trade coffee. But don't go yet, as next week I'm delving into waste. I track down a chap making robots from rubbish and try swimming in an effluent pond. It's all glamour on Global Radar.